What's up everyone, you got Mind Circus here with you and another Guild Wars 2 new player tip, and today we are going to be taking a look at the mastery system, or more specifically speaking, 5 really important masteries that I think you should probably prioritize working on once you've got your head around the system and know how to use it. With that said, if you are new to the channel, new to Guild Wars 2, or just haven't done so yet, I'm currently farming likes and subscribes in an effort to build the channel, and would greatly appreciate it if you want to hook me up with one of those just below the video itself. And with that out of the way, one of the most common questions, and one that's actually come up in the channel's comments a number of times, is about what to prioritize when you get to level 80, particularly when it comes to the mastery system. One of my favorite content creators is a streamer named Game, and he made a really telling comment about the game itself at one point, and I'll link his Twitch channel in the description down below. But what he said was, Guild Wars 2 is the theme park that plays like a sandbox, and I think that's a really telling statement. There isn't a whole lot of direction given to you once you've got this system unlocked, particularly if you own more than one expansion and the Living World seasons, etc. So what this is intended to be is a guide on what I think are probably the most important ones to work on, and a little bit of an order in which to do so. So the video will look at what I think are personally the biggest wins for new or returning players when it comes to the mastery system. Couple of notes before I start. This video assumes that you know what the mastery system is, how to assign points, and how to level it. It assumes you have a good idea on where to level the appropriate masteries. For example, where to level Corteria masteries versus Heart of Thorns versus, say, Icebrood Saga masteries. It's intended only as a guide. It's my personal opinion on which are the highest value. Also, perhaps conspicuous by its absence on this list will be legendary crafting. I thought a lot about this, and I ultimately decided that legendary crafting isn't exactly the kind of thing that I would personally steer a new or returning player to. I think it's more of a long-term endgame goal that's better suited to investigating after you've actually done the other things on this list. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So when we bring up the Mastery tab here, let's go ahead and take a look at a Central Tyria one first. And the Central Tyria one that I'm going to recommend you work on first is called Pact Commander. Now, Pact Commander has a few different things that you need to work on, but down at the bottom we have Advanced Logistics. And it says you now have the option to have loot from creatures you defeat be deposited automatically into your inventory. This is one of the biggest quality of life improvements that you can give to your account via the Mastery system. And really what it means is, as you are running around fighting, there is no more need to be spamming pickup after you have defeated enemies, that everything that they drop will be automatically put into your inventory. Once you've actually gone ahead and trained this one, as you can see, it's going to take a lot to get here, but after you've gone ahead and trained it, then what you need to do is you need to go into your options menu. All right, and from your options menu here, we actually have an option where we have the auto pickup, auto loot. Okay, so we have AOE Loot on Interact. If you are unaware of what that is, there'll be a link to another video down in the description of this video that will talk about what the AOE Loot on Interact means. But this specifically, and what you want here, is the auto loot, auto pickup, and that's only after training the appropriate mastery. Another note on this one, if you find yourself kind of struggling for Corteria masteries or Corteria mastery points, there are 3 things you want to look at. Number 1, there are a number of communes in open world, in the open world maps, where you can just go there and pick up your mastery point by communing with it. The next thing that you'll want to do is take a look at Living World Season 2. If you don't have access to that, if you're looking into, say, getting into the system and pushing ahead with that, one of the best things you can do is pick up Living World Season 2 if you don't have access to it, and do the story in its entirety. There are a number of mastery points that are given to you just for completing the story there. The other one that I'm going to recommend if you find yourself struggling for Quarteria mastery points is there are a number of them as achievements in fractals, and particularly in tier 1 fractals. Highly recommend you get into that. If you've never done fractals, don't get too worried about it. It's just short dungeons is really what fractals are, and there are a number of easily obtained Quarteria mastery points in the tier 1 fractals. So highly recommend you get into that if you are struggling for those points. Really quick pickups and should advance that track pretty quickly. So the number 2 pickup on this list is actually a Heart of Thorns mastery, and we'll take a look at this. And if we look under gliding, I think that one of the biggest quality of life improvements you can give yourself in the Heart of Thorns area when it comes to the mastery system is advanced gliding. Now, if you don't have advanced gliding yet, advanced gliding means you can glide indefinitely without using the little endurance bar that comes up while you are gliding. I personally found it a massive quality of life improvement to be able to infinitely glide. The only flag I will throw up on this one is that once you have either the Griffin or the Sky Scale, the advanced gliding kind of loses its shine. It doesn't have as much, impact on your day-to-day gameplay once you've got those flying mounts. That said, if you don't have your flying mounts yet and you're not looking to, say, rush those, then I would definitely prioritize advanced gliding as one of the masteries that I think was most impactful, particularly when it comes to the Heart of Thorns masteries, which, are a mixed bag, some of which are really good, like the gliding ones, and some of which are of lesser value. Some of them are just unlocking, say, new vendors, etc. So keep that one in mind. Advanced gliding, a really big pickup, but it does become lesser value once you have the flying mounts. The next masteries that I'm actually going to recommend are kind of there almost for fun factor, and we'll put this up here. But if we go under Path of Fire, we'll see that largely the Path of Fire masteries are kind of centered around the mounts. The expansion itself is largely a mount-oriented expansion in terms of its features. Every mount, and when I say every mount, I mean of the first 4 that we can earn, the Raptor, the Springer, the Skimmer, and the Jackal, on their second one here, all have an engage skill. And what an engage skill is that when you say get off your Raptor mount, you have an attack that you can do that'll bring all the enemies together. I'm a really big fan of that one. Or when we're talking about the Springer mount, the Springer has an engage skill that actually does break barb hate. Absolutely fantastic skill and a lot of fun to use. Highly going to recommend that you prioritize these on all of the 4 mounts. When we're talking about the rest of them, some of these are of lesser or more value than others, but I find that making sure that we actually have the second of all the mount masteries done is really going to be important to your general use of the game, particularly when it comes to using your mounts, and really represents a level of fun factor that mounts in other MMOs just don't have. So highly going to recommend you get into these. Now, also listed under the Path of Fire masteries, but one that actually comes with Living World, is under Crystal Champion, and this is Volatile Magic Resonance. Now, Volatile Magic, in case you are unaware, is a currency that comes from doing Living World Season 4. It's a very valuable currency. You can use it for a number of different things. Now, Volatile Magic Resonance says that Aurene has gifted you the ability to harvest Volatile Magic, which would be otherwise hazardous to the touch. This means that you will be able to, in open world, kind of fly around or run around and pick up the wild bits of magic that are laying about. Now, this becomes really important, not so much for the impact of actually gathering them, but the act of gathering these in open world is actually a large amount of Path of Fire experience. So if you find yourself kind of struggling to, say, move ahead in any of the other Path of Fire masteries, and you're really needing to pick that experience up as soon as possible, I'm really going to suggest that you go ahead and get this, make sure that you have it, and then go ahead and run around and just pick up some of the volatile magic that is out on some of the maps, and it really will represent a much quicker mastery leveling progression than you would experience without it. So very important one, and I highly recommend it. And last but certainly not least on this list is an Icebrood Saga Mastery one, and it's actually a series of them. We have a series here of Essence Manipulation, all right? We have Resilience Essence Manipulation, we have Valor Essence Manipulation, and we have Vigilance Essence Manipulation. And the most important of these to pick up is actually Tier 2 in all of these. Now, what this actually allows us to do is loot the large essence chests. Now, the large essence chests are found in two different places. They're found all over the map on the Biora Marches map. They are also found in strike missions. What this allows us to do is get a much better reward out of these maps. Now, we can farm these chests once we have this mastery unlocked, and when we do these strike missions, we'll see at the end we do have the access to pick up a fair number of chests that we wouldn't be able to open if we didn't have these masteries unlocked. Now, the reason I bring this up is the value of Eternal Ice. Eternal Ice is what's going to be the main thing that drops out of these chests, and if you're not aware about the value of Eternal Ice, highly going to recommend you take a look at another video on my channel. I've got a video for the Icebrood Saga. It's a farming video for Eternal Ice, and really what this is going to do is walk you through the path of farming these chests on the open world map, and it's also going to talk about the value of this currency, which is a couple of the absolute cheapest ascended trinkets in the game. So if you are currently looking for an ascended amulet or an ascended earring / accessory, absolutely going to recommend that you prioritize getting this and getting into this system and farming this and leveling these masteries. As you know, you can get an ascended amulet in about a half hour's worth of work once you have these masteries unlocked, and that makes your ascended amulets basically disposable at that point. So highly going to recommend it. So there you guys have it. Highly going to recommend you work on these, maybe not in that specific order. And like I say, you know, if you're rushing the mounts, then looking at investing the time and energy into leveling up advanced gliding may not be of the best value. But specifically speaking, auto loot, the number one thing you should work on when you are just getting involved in the mastery system. I think auto loot is absolutely the most powerful thing you can do for your account, because without it, you are undoubtedly missing treasure. And the next one I'm going to, say is number 2. If you've got access to the Icebrood Saga, go ahead and get those essence manipulation masteries leveled up and be opening those chests. That Eternal Ice is an absolutely beautiful currency, and probably one of the more powerful ones going these days. And really, that's about it. I'm going to thank you guys very much for watching this video. I'm going to remind you all to have fun in game and min-max your real life, and we'll see you again in the mists.